and I'm reading this book called Why We Sleep, and it's incredible. The guy who wrote it, Matthew Walker, is a PhD. I don't think that makes you a doctor. Maybe I'm not too sure. I think I've been in college now. If I went to class every semester, I've been in college for 6 years now. I think I'd be working on my PhD, about to graduate with it. That's how long I've been in college. Guys, only go to college if you are ready to go to college. Otherwise, you're wasting your fucking time. Don't go. Um, but it's a really good book, and it's talking a lot about like REM and like rapid eye movement and non-REM and caffeine and like so there's this neuroreceptor called um God damn it. Oh, I shouldn't be talking about things I don't know. Aerospin, something like that. Basically, what this neuroreceptor does is it puts your body to sleep. It builds up inside of your brain, and then once a certain point comes, it's lined up with circadian rhythm. So around like 11 p.m., it builds up to its max point, and it's like it's like, like amusement parks, they have like the big bucket of water on top of like a water park area. And once it fills up too much, it just eventually spills over. That's kind of like what this neurotransmitter does for sleep. It lines up, and once it builds up so much, it releases, and it just floods your brain. And that's what puts you to sleep. And like, when you're really tired and you're like watching a movie, your eyes start to like roll back in your head and you're falling asleep. That's what this neuroreceptor does. But it's a really interesting book because it explains like what caffeine does and like why caffeine will keep you awake for a longer period of time. And it's basically like this neuroreceptor is covered up and like pushed back with caffeine inside of your body, because caffeine's a psychotropic drug. It alters the level of your thinking. It changes your brain chemistry. It changes your brain. Which I don't think people really realize. Like, they accept caffeine as just like an energy thing, but no, it literally changes who you are. It changes your personality. But it's interesting reading it, and it talks about chemically what happens is like, well, caffeine builds up against that sleepy. Oh, I sound so smart. That sleepy neurotransmitter, and it pushes it away. It kind of like it barricades. Like if someone was underneath that bucket at the water park and was like pushing it up against, and it couldn't spill over. That's what caffeine does. It delays the effect. But as someone's holding the water bucket up, there's water still being poured into it. So that neurotransmitter is still being flooded to the area. And that's why you get the caffeine crash eventually. When you're delayed so much and you drink so much caffeine, it eventually wears off. And I think caffeine has like a half-life of, I think it was like 9 hours or 7 hours. So it eventually is going to have to wear off on you. And then that's what the caffeine crash is. It's even twice as hard because you have the twice buildup of that neurotransmitter, and the caffeine dies out, and then it just floods even twice as hard into your fucking brain. And then you like are absolutely sleepy. But I thought it's a really cool book. And I'm only like in chapter 4. So I'm only like 60 pages into it. But this guy Matthew Walker, he was one of the first podcasts I ever heard Joe Rogan do, and the guy's a genius. And you're listening to it, and you don't realize how important sleep is. You don't realize how it is the backbone of your life. How you will go crazy if you don't sleep a certain amount of time, and how so as he was explaining it is when you're awake, your senses are being used, and so vision's coming in, sight's coming in, smells coming in, touch is coming in, and it bounces back and forth to your brain. I sound like an idiot, but whatever. And they're bouncing back and forth to your brain. So things are coming in, but then they're also being interpreting. They're being interpreted in your brain and coming back and just kind of going back and forth. And that's when you're awake. When you're sleeping, you hit the cycles of REM and non-REM. And during REM, your body's paralyzed, like your muscles are shut off, and your eyelids are moving. You're dreaming. you're having these visions in your head. But what's really cool is that, so when you're waking up, you're interpreting and you're breaking down things all the time. But when you're non-REM, so non-rapid eye movement, so NREM, as it's called, you are taking in thoughts from your day, but you're not breaking them down into anything. You're just letting them sink in your head, and you're thinking about them, and you're kind of taking your day and breaking it down. You're trying to figure out things, and like, so when you're studying and you go to bed, like you're farther you're looking even farther into those thoughts. And then when you're in rapid eye movement, you're taking in the thoughts and you're dreaming them all out. You're taking in this thought of, oh, there's a blue sweater that I saw earlier in the day, but then you're taking it in, and then you're going into like this different world about the blue sweater, but the reason why, you're in a paralysis, like your arms don't work, your body doesn't work, is because you don't want to act out those things, because it could be dangerous for your environment. And I haven't got too far into it, but I think that's what sleep paralysis is when you wake up during REM, but your body's still shut off, it's still paralyzed. And that's because I think sleep paralysis, you wake up and you can't really move your arms. You're just kind of strapped in your bed. So I think it's like you're waking up during REM, which wouldn't make sense. But it's a great book, and I'm enjoying it very much. And then this book